Thank you very much for the question. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm actually the ambassador of Andorra for cooperation, but not only. I have a double hat, actually, and I'm also the voice of mountains, of the Pyrenean Mountains at the UN. Lately, if I must also pick some initiatives that Andorra has been pushing, I think we've been championing, I would say, the mountain agenda on the multilateral level, which is one of the actually added value of being a state, a small state, is that we have one voice at the UN. And as Felix is an ambassador at UN level, I think that we are also adding our voice, I would say, to push the topic of mountains and also the topic of mountains and climate change, because I mean, we've mentioned it many times here, and I don't need to repeat it, what has been said, but the effects are really there, and we see that our communities are suffering, and we need to also attend to those effects. Andorra is also engaged in the Mountain Partnership, which is also an alliance of actually goodwill with many states, actually among which we also have Italy, for instance, who has a prominent role there as well. And what we did is that we actually were candidate to host this year's global meeting of the Mountain Partnership. And why does it matter? Because it puts the Pyrenees on the map internationally, which is something that is important, of course, for my country, but also for the mountain agenda. So we're gonna convey a wonderful conference in March, and we hope to see a lot of you also represented in Andorra, to also put mountains and climate change at the heart of the conversation. And not only from a scientific viewpoint, because this is also something we're doing very much in the Pyrenees. We're working a bit like you at EUSALP with the working communities of the Pyrenees to gather data. And we have an observatory which is working for 15 years on the effects of climate change in the Pyrenees. They're also working on the glaciers, also a retreat, and they've provided a lot of scientific studies, a lot of data, and we believe that data is really at the core of what we need also to push for policies as politicians. So that's also one thing we're really working on and we push for. Next to that, I think that a good option would be also to create a bridge, and I think that is something that I've mentioned to your new chair at EUSALP, between our working community of the Pyrenees and EUSALP, and try to share good practices, also the data I was talking about, because our realities are, I would say, a bit different, but I think the challenges are really the same right now. So if we could build that bridge, I think that would be a great achievement. And next to that, I also invite all the countries of member of EUSALP also to work with us in the framework of the Mountain Partnership to try to still push the agenda, I would say, of the mountains, I would say, on the top of levels. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just wanted to follow up on what you just said, and I think that what I want to also share with you is that Andorra is a very small microstate, but we've put the bar very high in terms of what we wanted to achieve from a policy viewpoint. We've said we're one of the first countries to complete the full circle of transparency within the Paris Agreement for our GHG emissions. This is actually one of the big achievements for such a small country with small resources. We're one of the first ones to put together our nationally determined contributions with a very ambitious goal to have carbon neutrality by 2050. Okay, it's very far away, I agree, but we're getting there step by step, and we have a clear roadmap to get there. And then we were one of the first ones to get the review and complete that full transparency cycle very recently this year. So I think that at the end of the day, I just wanted to say size doesn't matter, where you're really ambitious and you're looking forward to change the world.
Vielmals. Frau Caldato, wir haben es gehört, die Berge haben eigentlich, die Alpen haben eigentlich ganz gut abgeschnitten und es sind eigentlich die Perspektiven nicht schlecht.
Well, I believe that I understand what you say. So basically, I think that what I can say is that for working in multilateral affairs for a while already, you understand that even if those are baby steps, there are still steps. So I think that we shouldn't say it's a failure. We should say it's a step. Unfortunately, I mean, I've read an article this morning about big emitters. Most of them still don't have clear NDCs, pathways to reduce emissions. So until we don't have those actually committing and doing the homework and setting clear pathways to reduce their emissions, I think we're not there yet. So there's still work to be done, but I think we're progressing in a way that, as Felix says, they talk together. So at least they're there. We are scrutinizing them also, and this is very important, and they're accountable. So I think that in that perspective, we could not call it a failure. Alenka stole my actually big announcement, because we've been actually advocating very hardly with the mountain group, let's say at COP30, to get this second expert dialogue on mountains and climate change, which is a big achievement indeed, because I mean, you have to understand that this is a big machine, as you say, Felix, and to get items on the agenda of the COP is almost impossible, really. So it's a lot of work, a lot of efforts, a lot of advocacy, a lot of like talks about scientific data, a lot of like work simply. So I think that I join you, Alenka, in celebrating that, because we're gonna meet all of us, let's say the mountain champions in Bonn next year in June, so it's going to be great. And next to that, as Felix said, I think that all of us have our part to do, and I would close with that. I think that all of us really have our part to do in that work. Thank you very much.